Can I get into the 1990s tonight, please? Oh, I've got a Japanese. Excellent. Oh, D pawn opening. I don't like the D pawn. At least it's this D pawn, not the other one. How are we going to do this? I think I'm going to do it like this.
The main goal when this little house of cards collapses, as it just did, is that you always want to make sure that your pawns are not too unstructured.
Mm-hmm.
Kingside castling. Queenside castling.
Oh, okay, queenside castling. Right. Let's try and release something onto the king side.
It's a very well-known strategy which you need to be aware of, this idea of castling on the opposite side and then pushing the pawns on the free side. A lot of players do it.
So you can play that game.
And that is exactly what you should do. You should be preparing to play at that game.
Going to give a check in a minute.
The common weakness of this idea is that, generally speaking, you will have castled on the king's side, and the opponent who wants to do this pawn pushing idea will have castled on the queen's side. And the king doesn't really end up in the very best position when he castles on the queen's side. He's still a bit central.
Let's get that rook lined up. I think I can spare that extra rook. Yeah, he thinks I'm going to take it, but I'm not, you see.
Double attack, I don't think I saw it here, which would have just been to move my king forward to guard that bishop, and then I could have advanced that pawn onto his knight. He's sacking the knight anyway, though, but he's kind of doing the exact opposite of what I'm talking about. Kind of interesting. Which is to say that if I move my king forward now, I will renew the threat on his knight. So having missed that opportunity, it's now allowed him to get his knight onto what I call a thorn in your side kind of square. Very annoying to have a knight that close to your camp. It's not a real danger though yet. It isn't a particular danger to my king right now. Interestingly enough, I can't take his knight, because if I do, he recaptures with the pawn, and then my bishop's exposed to his rook, and then my king is exposed to checks, which eventually will hit my rooks and potentially x-ray my queen. I don't want what he's doing now either to happen. I don't want this cracked open on the king's side. I'd like to push that pawn forward, but rather than do that, I'm pushing the pawn forward on his side, because I think I've got time to do the attack. I think he's the one who's running out of time now. It's close, but I think it's on my side the time.
You don't have time.
Check.
Chess is ultimately a race against time, and this game is the proof of it, if proof were needed. I know you're thinking, why didn't I do the more sadistic pawn takes pawn with check and then win the rook? Because this way I've got a mate, and the goal of chess is checkmate. Even if my queen, I could just give him my queen now, and I'd still have checkmate afterwards.
Check.
The moves of a desperate man. He doesn't have time. He's just hoping somehow something will happen, and it won't. It won't.
Yeah, I'm afraid I beat you with good old Philidor. Pawns must be pushed.
Yeah, Philidor said famously, pawns must be
Or in
pushed.
this case, just pawn must be pushed. Well, that was quite a good move, I must admit. But it won't save you.
Check.
He could have taken my queen. He didn't. He could have taken my queen en prise.
No, actually, that wasn't the mistake I thought it was. My queen was never en prise because my rook was still behind it at that point.
Let's just go back. No, the bishop
Check.
is gone. Good lord, what a fool I was. Right, I don't feel proud of that now. Oh, wait a minute. No, it was protected by the rook. I had it protected by my rook. So had he done that, and then that, and then that, then I no longer have the pawn there.
The key move here was g4, releasing my bishop to link with that pawn, which I could have done, which I didn't come up with at any stage in this analysis. I don't know why.
He would have been with the fighting chance. He could have captured that then. Damn. He would have been actually slightly up on material. If only he'd seen that.
Check.
My queen was not... Well, it was covered,
Check.
but the exchange wasn't good because
Checkmate.
it would have cost me that
Check.
pawn, and he has to get rid of that pawn.
Check.
So that was sloppy play, and I don't know if
Check.
I deserved that win. I mean, I was doing well up to that point,
Check.
but that win, that was a good move. That was a good move. And really, if I'd been playing properly, I'd have been looking to get... See, even this becomes quite tricky now. I can't get my bishop to where I want it. And now he's got advanced pawns. He can take that.
Check. Checkmate.
Oh,
Check.
okay. Where else can he go? Oh, he can't get fully away there.
Checkmate.
Oh.
Check.
Wow. Okay. And the other option?
Checkmate.
Ah, so if I'd played it properly, I could have come up with a really even beautifuler, well, a proper beautiful checkmate instead of that rubbish I came up with. So I do feel a bit bad about that, to be honest. But I could have won it there.
Check.
With using
Check.
that light coloured bishop, which is very
Check.
interesting.
Check.
So after he does this, I take the queen, he recaptures, and that creates that back ranking block. Then we do this, then he captures, then it's the reveal check, and that is
Checkmate.
a really nice combination, actually. That's a lovely combination. Oh, I wish I had come up with that myself. I wish I'd come up with that, just taking the queen.
Check.
But instead, I took there. He recaptured, which I suppose in a way makes sense. He's trying to keep the material even. Queen, queen, rook, bishop, bishop, rook. In fact, he's slightly ahead on the material.
Check. Checkmate.
Okay, so he tried to be slightly ahead on the material, but either way, he would have lost if I played correctly after that point. But I might not have played correctly. I might have panicked if he'd taken my queen. Very interesting. Very nice ending though. Very interesting ending. That made that very interesting, having that pawn up there. And I did think it was going to be pawn with rook at the end. Somehow. But, his counterattack on the queen's side was pretty stiff as well. That was pretty bad as well. I suppose I also had, at some point, this move, you know, not there.
Check.
I wouldn't want to do it there, but I could have done that there, you see. And that sort of forces the issue. If he doesn't take my queen, he'd have to have moved his queen away from the line of the bishop. Or even if he let's say he takes the bishop,
Check.
then we've got the same thing again.
Checkmate. Check.
So that kind of forces him to take the queen, really. And then we're back in the same thing again. We're back in that again. Oh, but we don't have the... oh, yeah, no, we're still back in there. Oh, yeah, no, wait a minute. What then? Now he takes. Oh, hang on, it's all changed. I'm confused. 1995. See, I National Master. So I don't care.
Kinside Castling.
Wanted to grab the extra pawn, did you?
Kinside Castling. I really don't see the point of this.
I have been beaten down by players who just push the pawns, but as a general rule, it substantially weakens your position, and you have to be very cautious of trying to just barrage your opponent with pawns if they are in any way advanced. pawns have come back and there's nothing behind, no more pawns left, you can click your bishop onto it, and the only way they can ever get rid of it is by exchanging it for a piece.
I kind of have to take that. Just one of these people that just does this endless freaking pawn crawl thing. Really annoys me.
If you're a good player, you can see the family fork that would be coming up here from the knight now going to h4 and then going to g6 with check. Family fork that would be. He must have seen it. He must be thinking about it. If you look carefully, the threat still remains by my knight hopping over to the e7 square for check, forking his queen. It still exists, this danger. I can still have him having to shift his pieces around unnecessarily.
I've got things going. I can see I've got something here. A family fork of sorts.
Check.
At this point, immediately sharpen your game. He will be out for blood to try and get hold of your queen now. This is where you need to be on your best game. Never get complacent when you have won his queen. I think he had seen that fork earlier. I didn't realise that when I moved my pawn it was basically mitigated against that. Thank God. See what I mean about sharpening your game? Look how much energy and effort is going into this now, running these pawns home and overwhelming me potentially with them.
Check.
Spectacular revealed check there with the bishop. Not spectacular enough. Too many plates spinning.
Check.
He should have just taken that. He should have just taken my rook. Silly fool.
Yeah, now that I've finally decided to move on to the light squares, basically his bishop's out of the game. It doesn't exist in the game now.
I know where the real danger lies, and it
Check.
doesn't lie in the bishop. About time you resign. About time. Ah, let's party like it's 1999.